Hi everyone, I am Rajesh Kumar. I am having close to 16 plus years of experience in DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. I have worked with more than 12 software organizations around the globe. I would like to introduce you all a DevOps School's flagship certification program in DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. This program will get started in the weekends, so get enrolled. Please contact us on the phone number given on the screen, and in fact you can email us on the contact@DevOpsSchool.com.
Okay, so today we are going to spend time with Git and GitHub. So basically Git is a versioning tool. So what is versioning? So as part of this process, we try to find out, okay, when we modify the code, and when I say code, don't think it's like a code for the product. It can be any code actually. It can be your infra code, CI/CD code, code for the development, code for the testing, test cases and all. It can be any code. So we write a lots of code in the system, lots of code for the software, for running the software, for maintaining the software. So over the period of time, we'd like to know who's modifying the code, what modification has been made, why this code has been, why this changes has been there, where is that, and when the code has been made. Okay, so who, what, why, where, when, and this is called versioning. Okay, this is called versioning. Now, using this versioning process, a system or tool or platform will keep a track of all this information, which is who, what, why, where, and when. So here in this slide, if you can see that there is a history of versioning tools which we have. Now, initially we got SCCS in 1970s, then later on RCS, then we got CVS, and then now from last 20 years we had a SVN, and then we got the Git. So Git is one of the most advanced tool right now which we are using. By the way, this is the history of open source tool itself, not for the commercial tool like Perforce or ClearCase or something like that, or VSS and all. Okay, so I'll just not get into the versioning, history of versioning, because that you don't want to know that right now. Yeah, so Git is born in April 2005. Now, who's the father of Git? So Linus Torvald. Now, do you know Linus Torvald? Who's the Linus Torvald?
Inventor of Linux.
No.
Yeah, he's the father of Linux actually.
Yes.
Yeah, so he himself has written the Git, and there is a good story about behind this actually, why he has decided to write a Git, because he has some problem with the BitKeeper, which they were using at that time to store the Linux kernel source. So yes, this is the Git. Now Git is popular. Why? Because it has a distributed version control. It is open source and free. Now, why we call it a distributed version control, I'll discuss in some time. Git is compatible with all the operating system which you know, and it's faster than other SCMs, sometimes 100x also. Now, why it is faster and what is the distributed version control, both are interrelated. So we'll discuss in this in some time. Okay, so I think we know that Git nowadays is everyone is using, and then because of that it's very popular and so on. So now who can use the Git? So anyone who wants to version the files, source code and all, they can use the Git. Now Git is not useful for tracking non-text fetch file, for example, images, movies, music, fonts, word processing files, spreadsheet and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, so there was some noise coming from someone. I just muted everyone. So if you have a questions, you can unmute yourself and then you know ask the questions. Okay, so like that. Now Yep. So you can store the image, movies, music, fonts, word processing files, sets and all, but versioning will not be done. So still you can store, but versioning can be you will not be able to differentiate between the two images or two movies file of this if you store it. So now the next question is Git is distributed. So how come it is distributed, and that we need to understand. So let's use the MS Paint because I feel comfortable. So this is the one server. Let's create one server. This is your server. Now in that server you have a repository. Now some of you will ask what is a repository. Guys, repository concept you have to understand that nowadays it's all about the repository. If you go Docker has a repository. If you go for Artifactory, there we have a repository. If you go to Google Play Store, also there is a repository. That app you call it, right? It's a repository. So here also in the source code management tool, we have a repository. So repository has what? So repository primarily contains two things. One is like the code, which we have code, and then version of the information, metadata, database, like who, what, why, when, all this stuff. So all this information, we call it in repositories, code and version. Okay. So this is something which we have in a repository. Now, code and version. So now this is the server and this is the repository. Now we need some sort of tools, some wrapper around it, so we can manage this repository. So let's say there is a SVN or Perforce or something like that, or clear case, the tool which I talked about last. So what happens, there is a server and there is a repository, and one software is written on top of it to manage that repository, and this server has IP address. Okay. And now all the development team wants to use this server repository because they want to version the source code. So this is your laptop, this is my laptop, this is someone else's laptop, and then what we do, so here in our laptop we install the client. Okay, this is the client. Now client check out the latest version or some particular version of the source code, and we modify the code in the client. Okay, check out the things. So whatever you want to do, let's say whatever means you want to add a files, you want to edit the files, you want to delete the files, all these things, whatever you want to do, you do in the repository, which is located somewhere else in some other server. So this networking is required for it. Correct now, all of you? So if you want to add, edit, modify, rename, delete, branching, merging, viewing, anything you want to do, you have to have a network connections, and that you do with the central repository. Because here is just client will help you to only download the file, but any modification you do, you have to do in the server. Are you comfortable with this concept?
Yes.
So if this model is called server model and client model, what model we call it? Server and client. So before Git, every software which that SVN, Perforce, ClearCase, VSS, TFS, whatever that so far, okay, that was based on the server and client model. And everything, whatever you'll do, like adding, editing, modifying, deleting, renaming, moving, branching, merging, doing everything you do on the server part. So that's the model which is called server and client model. But Git is not a server and client model. Git is not based on the server and client model. So what exactly it is? In the Git, what happens? If you want to add, edit, commit, or whatever you want to do, let's create this one. This is your laptop. This is my laptop. This is someone else's laptop. This is someone else's laptop. So if you want to version your source code, in that case, what you need to do, you need to create a repository actually. Yeah. So in the Git concept, everyone have to create a repository, their own repository. See here, and the repository, what it contains, that your code and the version of information, and you will using the client, Git client, you will work in your local repository. This is the client, and you will work in the local repository. This is the client of Git, and you will work in the local repository. So that's the reason it will be 100x faster, because everything whatever you do, adding, deleting, modifying, branching, merging, everything, I repeat, everything, yes, I mean it actually, this word, everything in the Git you do in the local repository. So now let's say if you want to version your source code on which we are working daily, for that you have to have a repository where in your laptop itself, and you will do everything in the local repository. So this model, which you call it a distributed model. Distributed model means everyone have their own repository. In the server and client model, what we had a server at one location and everyone will connect to that server using client. But here server and client both, I mean repository and client, you don't need a server anyway, because it's server you need when you want to manage from the hundreds of different users to this, right? So here you don't need a server. It's just a repository and client, and work in the same machines. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah, okay.
So this model, we call it a distributed model. Now you may have some questions regarding, okay, when I work in my own repository, which is located at my laptop, I do the versioning over there. That means whatever the code I modify, I version there. Then how do I share my code? How would I share my code with other people, and how would I get others code to my repository, my laptop? So this part we'll discuss a little bit later. So now the question was, what is a server and client model and what is a distributed? Did you understand, all of you?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Hello, Raj. Hello,
Yes.
Raj.
Yeah.
So the traditional system was that the traditional model was that you have a server, then client systems. Hello, are you?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Tell me.
That's more like a centralized system
Yes.
where
Yes.
clients connect to.
Yes.
So the current one now is a distributed system.
Mhm.
Every individual system has it's a server and a client on its own.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So now the question is, how do we get started? How do we get started? Okay. So I call it workflow. Basic. This is the one. So basic Git workflow. Workflow means how can I start working with it? Let's say from the first day. So first thing, step number one, install Git. Install Git. Now installing the Git, how do we do that? So if you are on Windows, then I don't think so you'll have a problem. Just go to the website which is called git-scm's official website. Okay, this is the website. I'll write it in the notes. And if you're accessing through the Windows, download for Windows. If you're accessing from the Mac, download from the Mac. Simple. So you will get exe, and how to install Git. I don't have to teach you how to install AMS. I know. But if you install using the Windows, then you will get one utility. Again, command line also it will work. You'll get a utility which is called git bash. This I like it actually. You might have seen me using multiple times. Git bash. Okay. So when you install through this, you will get git bash. This is the one. Now, what is a git bash? So it says,
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.